Did a renters roundtable today. So why'd you want to pick this as your location, and how did you come about this panel that we ended up with?
So we've seen rental prices here in Jersey City skyrocket. In fact, they're now the second highest in the entire nation. And I wanted to hear from people here about how that was impacting them and what we could do to do better, and if, the supply shortage was really driving up prices.
All right, simple enough. And obviously, we heard their individual stories. But on the Washington side, for a moment, you have this bill that's getting a lot of attention, talking about Elon Musk and his employees being having to do mandatory drug tests. Of course, it hasn't passed yet, but you've introduced. Just tell us why you thought that was necessary.
Well, we know that Elon Musk has a history of a lot of substance abuse. We've heard people from SpaceX suggesting he's made some very important decisions while possibly using. And I think if you go into the federal government and given what the responsibilities he's been given, the privacy data that we're all very concerned about that he seems to be pulling from Treasury, for example, I think it's the least we can expect that he faces some of the testing that many of our federal employees do.
There was a column in the Record last week, and it's something like, Mikey Sherrill's trying to consolidate power the old school New Jersey way, talking about your endorsements from Democratic county chairs and, other prominent leaders in the state. So, I mean, what's your take when you read something like that and people are assessing this race?
I have always built incredibly broad coalitions. I've worked closely with grassroots groups across the state. We're doing a roundtable to hear from people on the ground about how things are impacting them. So first and foremost, I have always built a coalition of people based on my desire to hear from people across the community and then address those things that I say sometimes are that last thing keeping you up at night. So as I look to run hard races, I think the most effective thing to do is to hear from people across the state, to come up with a great policy platform, and then to have a history of actually being really effective at executing that. So I think the reason that I've done quite well in my elections is because I deliver for people.